Sarin nerve gas. The Soviets love it. It's colorless, odorless, but it sure as hell ain't painless. They probably took out this whole town using a bottle half the size of my... Now, the Soviets have a convoy carrying enough sarin to gas all of Europe. I want you to find that convoy and blow the hell out of it. I want you to find their underground production facilities, blow the hell out of it. Think you can remember that? Oh, and evacuate any civvies who get in the way. Remember, we're the good guys. Oh, by the way, I'm General Carville. Welcome to Greece.
Welcome back, Commander.
Ready and waiting.
So, first things first, you might notice a little bit of a difference with the cutscene that was introduced to us. And that's because that cutscene isn't originally from the PC version. See, there's the whole retaliation version of this game, which is what was released on the PlayStation. And for them, well, they had some extra time and decided why not make a couple extra cutscenes for the benefit of the player. Those were never reported back to the PC version, so even now I have to take the raw files found God knows where, I can't remember, find those and then slot them into the video. That's also why it doesn't cover the exact same amount as the previous cutscenes. It just doesn't fit right in the whole aspect ratio. Regardless, we are introduced to General Carville, and yeah, he's just a guy, seems to have a strange attitude, but hey, generals can be eccentric at times. Oh, and for some reason, audio again. I don't know why it does this, but regardless. The setup here is that there's some sarin gas, and it's kind of hard to pinpoint where this level should take place. It's the same sort of dilemma that you have with Tiberian Dawn. You know that there are missions that occur at times during the war, whichever war that may happen to be, but you don't know when specifically, and the briefings rarely, if ever, make any sort of concrete commitment, I guess we'll say. And because of that, you just kind of have to assume stuff. In a way, I feel like it's a missed opportunity. You could kind of see where maybe certain characters came into prominence, or that were more important at a specific time. Who knows? It could also be interesting just to see the contrast between how, depending on where these missions take place, which again isn't always concrete, but it gives you just that extra little bit of information so that a player, like a game player like me, gamer or whatever, it just kind of gets that extra little enjoyment from the lore. Getting back to this mission specifically, however, it's all about sarin gas. Now, we know from the Russian or Soviet campaign that the Soviets were already planning to produce some, and in certain cases had already produced at least a minimal amount. So this presumably takes place after the first mission of the Soviet campaign. It's also an interesting opening for the Allied missions. The expansions, I'm trying to just go from top to bottom. I always forget if this is specifically to Counter-Strike rather than Aftermath.
Yes, sir.
Truth be told, there's not much of a... Like, you could play either one in either order, and it never really matters. Minus, like, maybe one or two edge cases.
On my way.
So, when it comes to the whole mission select, which I won't show because it, obviously the names spoil stuff for future events, so, or at least future videos, which I, again, just like with General Carville and anybody else, try to keep it hush-hush. So, I'm just trying to go in order from top to bottom. So if you are playing along, then you'll know what the next video after this one will be, and so on. It kind of helps you guys play along if you wish.
Unit ready.
Commander. Yes, sir. At one.
Training.
Reporting.
Now, the main objective is to destroy the convoy trucks. The Soviet units and structures objective is like a more secondary than anything. Sure, you're not going to win the mission without doing that, but the convoy trucks is basically the one thing you're specifically ordered to stop.
Construction complete.
To that end, there's multiple ways for the AI to transport its vehicles off-map, which is actually kind of interesting.
Medic reporting. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
One way to mitigate it is by destroying a bridge up north.
Yes, sir.
Unit lost. Construction.
And at the same time, if you have the time and the rocket soldiers to do so, tanks work as well, I guess, you can always destroy the bridge to the south. The basic gist is the same, however. You want to deny them an avenue of getting out somewhere onto the map.
Yes, sir. Agreed. Yes, sir.
If any vehicle of the Sarin gas convoy makes it off map, it's an instant loss. So you want to be careful about how they go about their movement.
Yes, sir. Out.
Base is under attack. Construction complete.
It's safe to say also that these missions are not for the inexperienced.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Like when you accidentally move a guy and he triggers the V2 launch.
Medic reporting. Commander. On my way. Indeed.
Training. Building.
The menu at the start of the game is actually rather confusing for this whole, these expansion missions aren't very user-friendly. Just because
Unit ready.
when you look at the main menu, they actually appear above the campaigns. So, a newer player, I would assume, could be confused into thinking that they're supposed to play these first. And, well, they're all tough in their own right.
Unit
On my
ready.
way. Yes, sir. Commander. King and country. Commander. Indeed.
The mention of the radar dome in the briefing is a
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
interesting one. It's not very mission critical. The idea is that it just shows you where the different exit points are for the vehicles, the sarin gas vehicles, that is. It's not really necessary, though.
King and indeed.
After you destroy the bridges, I mean, you can already funnel anything into specific areas, so you don't really have to worry about that.
Yes, sir.
Building.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Agreed. Waiting orders. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
This actually reminds me, speaking of exits, I don't recall if I edited out a failed run in this one.
Affirmative.
At this point in the recording of the LP, I'm basically doing all these expansion missions separately. Before I could knock out a couple missions all in one go. Expansion missions sometimes are tough enough, or
Yes, sir.
Insufficient.
just, it's the they're nice little bite-sized adventures, so to speak.
Yes, sir. For king and country, Commander. Indeed. For king and
Prepared.
country.
Basically, these missions are a nice little, like,
Unit prepared.
get into this game, load it up, play one of them. It's tough enough. It offers a lot of variety, and you can just, shut it off right after, and you're good to go.
Indeed.
Basically, what I'm saying is, I really like the expansion packs.
Building. Cannot deploy here. Building.
Commander. For king and country. On my way. Commander. King and country. Commander.
Unit ready. Construction complete. Building.
Now, if you're playing this the smart way, you're gonna want to use that mine layer a little more than I do.
Building.
Oh, and the very rarely seen radar jammer made an appearance. It didn't have much of an effect. You can kind of see how poor it is because it really needs to get close, and by the time, if you build your radar dome just deep into your base, it eliminates its effectiveness immediately. So one issue with actually destroying the bridge up north is that in doing so, you don't have an easy avenue to actually capture the radar dome. So it's a rare occurrence where you should probably just do that side objective first, then destroy the bridge. Or just, I guess, do the Iron Man route and never ever destroy the bridge. Under normal circumstances, this mission probably wouldn't take so long. However, it's important to note that our tech level is severely limited at this point. Sure, we have a naval yard, but you can't really do anything with it. Sure, you can get war factories and barracks and even service depots, but you're still only locked to light tanks. You can get Rangers, but screw using those against Tesla coils. Basically, you only have one viable option, that's the light tank. And that's also mainly just because, the Soviets get V2 launchers, and we've already seen how devastating those can be against rocket soldiers. And there's no way you're getting a good spread with rocket soldiers.
Unit ready.
Not to mention flamethrowers and attack dogs. Although the latter's very rare. Despite there being some on the map, and a doghouse, a kennel at some point, I just forget where exactly on the map, they don't really ever buy any. Oh, it turns out that Radar Jammer isn't a Radar Jammer? Well, I guess we'll just have to see that at a much later date. Also, I don't think you're supposed to be able to build there. It looks like it's almost directly on the water. Probably some weird, that's just the bib or at least I'm pretty sure that's what it's called in the manual. Just the bib of the building just doesn't look great.
Construction complete.
So despite killing the bridge, it seems that there's just a small path to get up there, which is more than a little annoying. In a way, it kind of makes destroying that bridge pointless. Again, having to deal with heavy tanks, V2 launchers, and Tesla coils, amongst other things, is not really something I want to take lightly. Next thing you know, you lose your entire forest and you just have to rebuild it all over again. And eventually it just makes it longer than this mission should be.
On hold. Unit ready. Service.
Anyways, I've probably got about 15 or so by now. Way more than you'd probably ever need for the small base. However, we can, thanks to the spy, notice that there's an issue with how the Soviet base is built up. Namely that, well, there's a double wall on the bottom right corner, but aside from that, not much else in terms of defenses. And it kind of directly leads to power plants.
Primary building selected. Unit ready.
I'd actually forgotten that the Sarin gas facilities actually produce vehicles. So, interesting to see. Also, one of the reasons why you actually want to destroy that southern base as quickly as possible.
Building.
Awaiting orders. Acknowledge.
Building.
Yes, affirmative. Yes, sir. Yes, affirmative. Yes, affirmative.
Insufficient
Awaiting
funds.
orders.
Mission saved.
On my way. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Reporting affirmative.
So we can see, as always, that the Tesla coil's got its own range, and it's rather annoying trying to go up against it. So instead, I'm just gonna try and hole my way into the base and do it that way. And, annoyingly lose a war factory to a lone V2 rocket.
Unit ready.
Reporting. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Yes, sir. Awaiting orders.
I mean, luckily I built the second one, but it's an annoying thing to lose.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Reporting. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Awaiting affirmative.
Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, acknowledged. Awaiting affirmative. Reporting. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Awaiting order. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Awaiting affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
This is also the problem that you normally come up against whenever you have, like,
Yes, sir.
small avenues to navigate through. You just end up, like, immediately clogging up an area and then, kind of have to try and deal with it.
Cancel. Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
So a simple looking attack that's goal was simply to unpower the enemy base has drawn in their entire force, wrecked my entire attacking group, and they can still produce the power plants that they require. But hey, at least they're, as open to attack as I am. So for those of you who may have issues with this level, I think it's safe to say that despite the turret defense being rather effective against vehicles, your best bet if you want to prevent any sort of convoy from just bypassing you completely, invest in a couple pillboxes.
Awaiting order. Acknowledge.
I annoyingly and embarrassingly had at least one convoy vehicle basically drive through my entire base.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Turrets are fine if they can hit the target, which they couldn't. And, that's the sort of loss that you kind of want to prevent if possible.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Yes, affirmative. Yes, sir. Knowledge. Yes, sir.
Honestly, I should have picked a better building for my spy to infiltrate. Like, I should have done the one at the top right corner of the base, you can see.
Yes, sir.
Just because there's no sense, like, ruining that, that visibility for you.
Acknowledge. Awaiting order. Acknowledge. Awaiting acknowledge. Acknowledge.
Once the power's down, obviously, beeline it for the construction yard. As soon as they can't replace anything, you're pretty much good to go. I'm not sure if it's just this mission or a series of missions, but it seems that the notification to of what you're supposed to be doing happens more frequently. Unless it's all a fever dream and I'm just imagining it. Like some weird confirmation bias. Now that we're most of the way of destroying the enemy base, I think it's important to take note or take stock of what we can currently see. We're almost done with destroying the Sarin gas plant, and there's relatively little to destroy on the map. Once this power plant goes down, there's not much in the way that they can do anything. But we can see that there's a submarine pen. And we have to destroy all units on the map. And I just destroyed the last building that's capturable. Other than, I guess, the radar dome at the top right. Okay, well, maybe the sub pen is just aesthetic. Maybe there's nothing really there and the water's free and clear. Alright, sub pen's down. Nothing to worry about. Just gonna mop up. Should be it. Well, the radar dome at the top right isn't part of the same army. It's like a brownish orange. Like an auburn, I guess. Regardless, it's not part of the Soviet team or if it is, it's allied. Which I think is like the first time we've seen of that. Okay, maybe the civilians are also something I need to kill. So let's just do that. I'd rather not have to commit war crimes, but you know. Alright, so maybe the buildings is like the key. At the same time, I'm like frantically checking every corner of the map that I can, just in case. Hell, I'm even destroying buildings that are, I guess, technically allied? That save is when you know paranoia is setting in. Like, something's not quite right here. But hey, alright. It has to be this radar dome. Like, what else is there? Oh great, and I need silos too. Anybody complaining about, you know, you must construct additional pylons? Command & Conquer Red Alert did it first. Hope you all take note of that. And I hope you also notice that, you know, I've killed the radar dome and I haven't won this mission yet. Oh, great. So, I mean, at least the subs revealed themselves. You know, it's not the freaking worst move they could think of. Alright, well, I need to get boats. This is also the problem with not, like, saving more frequently, which, I mean, it's not interesting to you, the viewer, so I prefer not having to if I don't have to. Oh, there's a guy up there. Maybe, okay. Maybe this is all just a misunderstanding. Son of a... Like, we didn't see a convoy, like, make it off the map, right? I'm pretty sure I would have seen that. Because, like, it's still telling me to destroy all convoy trucks. Which doesn't make sense. I have. I don't see any on the map. If you, the viewer, can see a convoy truck on the map, or on the screen, let me know. I know this is recorded a month prior to the, like, recording of the audio to this, which will probably get put up in, like, 3 weeks or whatever, but that's not the point. Timestamp? Send me a JPEG. So it's not good enough that they get subs. It's not good enough that I have to search for everything on the map. But, you know, there's no real safe, like, spot for you to build. Okay. I know I'm not giving the expansion mission, like, I was talking, like, I was hyping them up, and here we are. I can tell you for sure, this level's good. The other expansion levels are good too. Sometimes things just don't go your way. You know, like when you try to destroy everything on the map and it turns out that the subs are really good and they destroy your gunboats because you're not given anything better because this level, you know, your tech level sucks.
Building. Unit
Yes,
ready.
sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Wait, no, yes, sir. Yes, affirmative.
Construction complete.
Oh, and this is to show, like, yeah, I know this is like 3 months late, but naval yards do not extend range for their own building.
Yes, affirmative. Yes, sir, affirmative.
Building.
This is where I saw it, and then I saw it being posted in the thread, so I just like tried it here.
Affirmative.
Thrust.
Yes, sir, acknowledge. Affirmative.
Okay.
Awaiting orders. Yes, sir, affirmative.
So I've destroyed every sub. I've destroyed every convoy truck. I've destroyed every Soviet unit, but I haven't destroyed the structures because they're walls. Surely that must be the issue, right?
Affirmative, affirmative, affirmative. Acknowledge, acknowledge, acknowledge,
I can't believe I'm doing this.
acknowledge, affirmative, 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 acknowledge, affirmative, 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 acknowledge,
Oh, there's one there. Salvation. Ah.
acknowledge. Affirmative, acknowledge, affirmative, affirmative.
At this point, I'm checking every tree. Like, maybe the Soviets got camo pillboxes in this mission. Something. There must be something.
Reporting, yes, sir, acknowledged. Waiting or vehicle, reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir, acknowledged.
I'm thinking, like, okay, maybe there's something slightly off map, and that, like, a unit could shoot at it or something. Annoyingly, there's still spots on the map that I can't even discover. Like, it's impossible. You have to go look it up in the map editor.
Vehicle, reporting.
No, there's nobody. There are locations you just can't expose.
Agreed.
Hell, I don't even have artillery, so even if I wanted to, I can't actually shoot in those areas.
Awaiting orders. Awaiting orders.
So, yeah, the level bugged, and I beat it. There's nothing special afterwards, so don't worry about it.